Welcome to Entrepreneur Success Stories. My name is Emmy, and I'm a high performance business coach. I help coaches get to their next level of success. And I created a show to be able to invite entrepreneurs from all over the world to share their story and to inspire and motivate you to go after your dreams. And today's guest, I have a very special guest, RYAN HOLTZ, the host of RYAN HOLTZ Show. He's a speaker, he's a marketer, and he's a podcast host, and his show was also named Canada's #1 Black hosted podcast. So welcome, RYAN. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much, Emmy. I appreciate you. You know what? I've followed your content forever on LinkedIn. You do great work. So, when you asked me, I said, man, I got to come on Emmy's show. It's my absolute honor. And I'm happy to have a great conversation and serve your audience in a way that's memorable, fantastic, consistent, and persistent.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much. So let me get right into this. So really what I want to find out and would really be helpful for our viewers is to where this RYAN HOLTZ podcast show coming from? What gave you the idea to start this show, and really what made you decide to go after this dream of yours?
It's a big question because it's a series of events. If I go back to when I was born, with my mom, my beautiful mom who brought me into this world, who I talk so much about, who passed away when I was 13 years old as a single mom. She just always ingrained this kind of show personality into me. She always said, Ryan, I was the little kid that would go and stand up on stage and do those little singing tryouts, and just always very outgoing, and it's interesting because a lot of people take my extroverted characteristics as being like this extroverted person, but I'm actually quite introverted in the sense that, I keep my circle very small. I know zillions of people, but my family is number one for me. I don't really do a lot of other things other than my family. I have a couple close friends, but that's it. I put all my time in my family and in my business, and that to me is my two passions. But creating this show, it came from a place of, I've done radio and TV before as a commentator. So I would go on as a, expert marketer and give my opinion on certain subjects or product releases and stuff like that. And at one point I said, you know what, I'd really love my own show. I'd really love my own radio show or TV show. And I did have the opportunity to have it. But once I started kind of going through the details with the producer, I figured out, oh my gosh, everything I do on this show is going to be completely scripted. It's going to be just so watered down from what I really wanted to do. And I said, well, hey man, you're a digital marketer. You've had tons of success in the marketing side with the internet and social media. Traditional media, in my opinion, has consistently, decreased in numbers and viewership because everybody's online, everybody's on the internet. Yeah. And I said, well, if you know how to talk to people, you know how to interview people, you can book people, you can, have your own content, set up your own programming, and you can market it. Well, hell, man, do your own show. Like, nothing's stopping you. And that's where the RYAN HOLTZ Show podcast was born. And technically it was born 3 years ago. Like many podcasters, I started, I think I got to maybe episode 10, and then it sat for a year. And not purposely, I just didn't do it. And then my wife came to me one day and she said, what are you doing with this? Like, are you going to do it or are you not going to do it? Because if you're not going to do it, take it behind the barn and shoot it and call it a day. But your name is on this and you cannot just let your name sitting there with this kind of stale show. And I said, well, I do want to do it. So then I started it out as kind of a passion project. And then honestly, it became much more than a passion project. It's, the RYAN HOLTZ Show podcast, I'm really proud to say now, is it's a business. We have advertisers that pay us money. We have really, as some of the world's most amazing guests come on the show. Our reach is far, and we have brands every day and guests every day trying to come on our show and say, hey, Ryan, this and that. So now it's not a passion project. It's a full-blown business that is my passion that is now being ran in conjunction with my marketing agency. And that's kind of the desire. But the one thing that I wanted to do with the RYAN HOLTZ Show podcast was cut all the crap, have real talk, and provoke people's minds. Yeah. Curiosity and provocation are the two words that the whole show centers around. And that's where the RYAN HOLTZ Show podcast was born.
Amazing, amazing stories. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yep.
And as you went on with your journey and you decided to start and you stopped for a year, did you have any kind of limitations, like limiting beliefs or anything going into your mind that you can or you cannot do this, or is it going to be successful or not?
I mean, I still do. I always do. I don't think I'd ever want to stand up, in a crowd of people or at an event and say I don't have limiting beliefs. I'm a human being. Of course I have limiting beliefs. I was just talking with my wife yesterday and she said, Ryan, every time I talk, like I get all these beautiful messages from listeners. I had a really touching one because you know how you get messages and then you get like just a heartfelt message where somebody's writing, 10 paragraphs and you're like, wow. And I get these random messages, not even from social media. I'll have a listener that literally sends me an email. I do not know this person at all. And they send this heartfelt thing. And I read it like 5 times because I'm just like, wow, our show's really doing that. And it's not that I don't think we're putting out great work. I know we are, but I'm humble. I'm a very humble person. I never, as much success as I've had, people have to understand in my brain, I've done zero. I've done squat. I've done nothing. Like my bar I'm setting for myself is so high that I'm just getting started, right? And I don't say that from a place of like, oh my God, that's inspirational. No, it's how I actually feel. So I think in business, what business has taught me is, and you know this, Emmy, is that throughout the course of your day, you could get really great news and really bad news. And you could get it within a minute. I could land one of my biggest deals right now, get off of here and find out that I lost one of my biggest clients. And that's just the way it goes, sometimes. And
ups and downs.
Yeah. So I try to keep very level, but my wife says to me, she says, Ryan, like, it's like you're still talking about this show. Like it's like you're just starting it, or like, she's like, why are you still so shocked when people are sending you these messages or you're getting these opportunities and I just kind of looked at her and I said, I don't know. I think it's just that 13-year-old boy that lost his mom. I just ingrained such a humility inside me that, I really want to serve the world, but I always believe success, my version of success is personal mastery that impacts the masses. Yeah. So I feel like if I can figure out Ryan and master Ryan and be a consistent learner, the better I can serve you and everybody else that's willing to take in some of my content.
Yeah, absolutely. So that gets me to another question is like, what do you do to keep that energy going? What do you do to feed your mind and your soul each and every day to be able to impact the masses?
I chase around my my 22-month-old daughter, which is my queen, and my 4-year-old son, which is my king. I mean, I am a 36-year-old just kid. I never lost my curiosity. As much pain and suffering as I've experienced, I can still think like a child. I don't walk in a straight line. I look around, I look at the buildings, I look at the colors, I smell the area. I am a complete lover of life. I love to take it all in, and inspiration is all around you. Content ideas are all around you. You have this thing called the internet, which gives you this kind of, I call it information obesity. There's so much information at your fingertips that it almost becomes extremely tough. But, I live in a place in Canada. We live in 2 different places, but one is in the mountains here in British Columbia, and it's beautiful. I look in the mountains, I look at the water, I look at the snow when it's in wintertime, and I grab my inspiration and my energy from that. Here's what I do, though. This is the biggest life hack. I don't have any shitty people in my life. I don't have any energy drainers, no bloodsuckers. I am so brutal and so ruthless at protecting my family and mine's beautiful space. If anybody even tries to infiltrate it, they are met with a complete ferocious beast. I cannot stress this to the audience. Your life is so short. Spend it with people who want to pour in your cup as much as you want to pour into theirs.
Yeah.
Right?
So how do you keep them aside? Like, I know that there are a lot of naysayers, like, I'm on LinkedIn as well. So there are people are, negative, where they really kind of try to bring you down. So what do you do? How do you stop them from taking away from your energy or from your cup?
Oh, I just turn on my empathy cap and figure out this person is so damn miserable. Their life is clearly not good. There's nothing more I could do to this person to make them feel worse about themselves. So I go the high road and I say, you know, awesome. Thanks so much for your comment. You know, let me know if there's any way I can help you in your life. Take care. Bye. You're done. You get zero of my attention. It's zero. Because here's the thing. What about the other 10 people that are like, Ryan, I love your stuff. I want to support you. Yeah, because it would be so rude and disrespectful of me to literally not give energy to the people who are actually saying, Ryan, I am your fan. You know, I love you, man. I love your content. I love your business. I love your story. I mean, I want to love them back, and I'm not going to waste my energy to love them back on any negativity. Of course, a negative comment or something. I mean, I get negativity all the time. I mean, I say some pretty profound things on my show. I don't sit on the fence. I hope you will agree with that when you see my content. Absolutely. I'm not a fence sitter. I pick a side, I go down it. And if people agree, they agree. If they don't, they don't. So yes, the bigger you are. And I think, and here's the thing I'm really starting to learn is that the larger you get, the more negativity you will be met with. And, you know, and sometimes I'm like, hey, holy smokes, you know, 99 out of like 100 comments are always positive. And now I'm like, whoa, wait a second. Maybe like, ooh, we're starting to get some negativity. You know, I've actually received hate mail, you know, in my email inbox, you know, saying, you know, you fucking piece of, sorry for the swearing, but you effing.
No, that's okay. I received some of those too. They called me very nice names as well.
Yeah. So. And I'm just like, whoa, you know, it's Monday morning. I did my workout, feel good, tell my family, okay, we're gonna have a great weekend. And I'm like, that's not good. That didn't make me feel good. But hey, if you value the work you're doing and you value the purpose and your goals, those always have to take, those are the focus. So those are the ones that will always keep you going forward down the path. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So if someone is just starting out this year, 2021, and they want to start a podcast on YouTube, like what do you suggest to them? Where should they start? Where like, you know, when you start out, you really have no idea what to do, right? So maybe just you have an idea, this is the show I want to create and invite people, but how do I go about it?
Well, some people, you know, I think one of the gifts that I have is I can do video very well. I translate on video. I don't get shy or nervous of video. You know, I can make love to the cameras as good as any actor can. That. You know, I can make love to the camera because, you know, that's my personality. However, I understand that, you know, not everybody is that way. In fact, probably I would say more people are not as comfortable in front of the camera than are. So if I'm speaking to that audience, I would say, you know, there's only a few forms of communication that you can get your message out in. You can write, you can talk, voice, and then you have video. Of course, if you're hearing impaired, you know, or you're visually impaired, you have Braille and sign language and all these different softwares. However, we're still going on the notion of writing, you know, reading and talking. And you have to decide for yourself as somebody who says, well, I want to send out this message. You need to understand how you best communicate it. And if you want to create a podcast, you know, a lot of people do love that it's only audio format. But my theory on this is that podcasting is great, but it's still such a big amount of friction for the average person that doesn't know what a podcast is to start listening to podcasts. I can't tell you how many people that have been following my content online and they're like, Ryan, I don't even have Apple Podcasts, or I don't do Spotify. But here's what they do. They'll always say, do you have a YouTube link?
Yes.
You know, or some people they simply say, Ryan, I just watch your video clips online. I watch your little video clips on Instagram and LinkedIn and Twitter. And that's where I consume your content. So, you know, for me, it's so like to put out content consistently is so much damn work. It is a lot of work. So if I put out one piece of content, I want to get as much return on that content as possible. So for me, I tell people, I'm like, if you got to get comfortable with the camera, because video and audio, you can repurpose it. There's so many other options. You can do little clips. You can go to YouTube. You can go to all the podcasting platforms, because people always come to me and they say, Ryan, I did not understand how much work it takes to put out consistently great content. And that's where, for me, the video is king. So what I would tell them is this: figure out what your message is, number one. Number two, figure out who your message is for. Number three, once you figured out 1 and 2, then choose the platform that your ideal audience is on. And if that is YouTube or it is video based, well, I'm sorry to tell you, you need to go get comfortable. You need to go get comfortable on camera. But if it's only audio based and maybe a podcast, just an audio podcast is good, well, go down that path. But you have to ultimately decide how important is your message to yourself, and are you willing to get out of your comfort zone? At the end of the day, nothing great in life comes easy. You will need to get out of your comfort zone. That's truth, because it's growth, and growth is a good thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I always say that too. So if someone is watching right now and they think, holy shit, like I don't know how to create videos, I'm really shy, I'm introvert and all that stuff, like what would you suggest that they do to get outside of their comfort zone? So I always say get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yes. Yeah. And you make a great point, because it's true. I think there's a couple suggestions I would make is practice, put yourself in uncomfortable situations. There, of course, you got groups like Toastmasters, but if you're uncomfortable in video, I honestly would tell people do this. If you have a couple close friends, get together with them, obviously out of COVID, but they could do what Emmy and I are doing right now on this podcast, on this show, is that we could hop on a Zoom call and I could practice just talking to you and getting comfortable. Because if me, Emmy, and 2 other people were on here and we're all talking, well, that's considered you're talking to a group. You're in front of a camera. And here's what I think COVID has done, Emmy. Here's the good thing. Here's the silver lining. COVID has taken people that hated technology and forced them to learn technology. I mean, you got grandma and grandpa using Zoom, FaceTime, Skype, all these amazing things. So I feel like people now are automatically starting to get a little more comfortable being on camera, because they're doing birthday parties and seeing their families and doing all these things. So, take note of that, and that will translate over into getting a little bit more comfortable. But at the end of the day, everybody needs to do this on your show. Go to the free largest university in the world. It's called Google. Type in how to become comfortable on camera and go down the rabbit hole and just start clicking on stuff, and you will be okay.
Just Google it and then take action on it. Right.
Yes.
So I just wanted to, you mentioned that you are on several platforms. You're on Twitter, you're on Instagram, you're on YouTube, you're on LinkedIn. Out of these platforms, which one is your favorite? Which one do you like the most?
Right now, I mean, bar none is Instagram and LinkedIn. Those 2 for me. I mean, I have 80,000 followers on Instagram, and just under just under 13,000 on LinkedIn. They're 2 very different platforms, but I have really married them. I call it Linkstagram, where I combine them.
I love that.
Yeah.
I've heard it before.
Yeah, because LinkedIn is, I mean, man, LinkedIn is great for business. You have a lot of decision makers on there. You have a lot of, high net worth people on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn, you have people that actually are on LinkedIn that are nowhere else. I see people that own massive companies and they are on LinkedIn, but they're like, Ryan, I don't waste my time on Facebook. I don't go to Instagram. I don't go to Twitter, but I'm on LinkedIn. So if you're in the business community, I mean, you got to be on LinkedIn. But I really love, Instagram combined with LinkedIn. I mean, I think they're great platforms. They're very different, but the content that I put out, it works on both. But I make sure that I natively post to each one. So I might come up with a caption on Instagram. I just did a little test this yesterday. I posted a drop a fire emoji if you agree with these 5 daily habits of winners. I saw
that. I actually gave you like 5 fires on that one.
Yeah. So I posted that on Instagram and it did very well, right? But I wanted to see if I used the almost exact same caption on LinkedIn. And I was surprised because LinkedIn, I mean, it did very good on LinkedIn. And so I'm like, okay, LinkedIn, maybe LinkedIn has even more personality than I thought. I know LinkedIn has changed and has tons of personality now, but sometimes I still think, I mean, Instagram, I could do that with. I don't know if I could pull that off on LinkedIn.
I would say go for it. I would say go for it, Ryan, because, a lot of people think about LinkedIn that it's business. And then it's really the personality, as you're saying, it's not there. And when you show yourself, you show your authenticity and you ask them to give you a fire, just go for it because you're going to be different. That's what helped me grow that far. So
I agree with that.
Don't ever stop.
I agree. No, I agree with that. And thank you for that. So yeah, that's kind of my tips, for the podcasting side. I mean, and for the platform, my favorite platform. I mean, but people who are listening, if I didn't have any social presence right now on anything, and I was looking to build from scratch, I mean, I have to go on TikTok and I have to go on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is still giving me such a beautiful organic reach, which means you don't have to pay no money and you can get out to a lot of people. So it's very low priced attention. It's free attention at this point. And TikTok right now is free attention. So if I'm starting my journey on social media, TikTok and LinkedIn. Got
you. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us. So there's one more thing I wanted to ask you, and like I remember when I changed my life, there was one quote really specifically stand out for me from Wayne Dyer, which means when you change the way hold on, how did it go? When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change, right?
Yes.
I was wondering if you had any kind of quote like in your journey, during your journey, that really spoke loud and clear to you and said like really changed the way you were thinking about even business or life. Or
the smile disarms, but the heart conquers. That's a quote that I said. And I said that years ago, because everybody comments on my smile because I'm always smiling.
Yeah.
But somebody asked me on a show the other day that I was a guest on. They said to me, "Hey, Ryan, what is a couple things you really want your kids to take away from your skill set?" And I said, I always want them to learn how to be graciously ferocious. Okay. Essence is presence, but don't take the smile for weakness. Life is not easy. And I'm here to tell everybody that I'm not selling you Kool-Aid. I'm not selling you crap. I'm not selling you on this fake utopia and dream. It's not real. It takes work. And I'm proud to say that I'm showing my journey as I'm going. I'm showing the hard stuff. I'm showing the vulnerable stuff. I will get, I said this to my wife yesterday, and I've said this since I was a kid. The world will know the name Ryan Holtz, period. Yes. That's a fact. However, the work has to be done to get there. I don't care about celebrity or fame or anything like that. I'm just like, my kids, like my legacy is living through my kids. And long after I'm gone, I want my kids, my grandkids, and the family to be like, man, you remember great grandpa and great grandma? And my wife is my co-CEO. So when I hear things about empowering women and having a seat at the table, women are the fucking table. I mean, I was raised by a woman. I am not the guy. I don't see male and female. I see greatness, right?
Yes.
And I've only been around strong women in my life. My wife is strong. I said before I was married, I said, and I always knew I would marry either a Mediterranean woman or a Middle Eastern woman, because I needed somebody that had personality but was strong,
Love it. That's so cool.
The culture, of knowing how to kick your partner's ass when they need to be kicked.
You're speaking my language right now.
Yeah, I never wanted to marry a yes Ryan. A yes. I wanted to marry a get your shit together, man. Keep moving, keep growing, keep going. Right. And my wife and me, we keep each other accountable. I don't need an accountability partner. I'm married to my accountability partner.
That's beautiful. Right? That's awesome.
So, it goes to the point of just, having people understand that what is your cause? What is your crusade? Tim Story, who's been a guest on my show, he's Oprah's life coach. And I love his quote. He said, "You might not be where you want to be, but thank God you're not where you used to be."
Yes. Beautiful.
Right?
It's simple as that, right?
And I think sometimes the silver lining in all that is, do we ever really get to where we want to be? Isn't that kind of the evolution of life and the journey? Because even when we get to this goal, we're probably going to start climbing to the next goal. Yeah. So I am where I want to be. I'm exactly where I need to be.
Yes, and I'm enjoying my show. I love it. Thank you.
Yes, Emmy. Yes, because it's a part of the journey. You are now a small part of my journey. I'm a small part of your journey. People are there for a reason or a season. I mean, you know, famous quote. I'm a quote guy, so don't get me started on quotes. I mean, I got like
I love quotes, so maybe we can start on quotes.
I have a folder of quotes. Like even I'm going to do a podcast on my top 10 quotes, and then I'm gonna actually debunk what I think the quote means, because I've just always been so obsessed with quotes.
Yeah.
And even in dark times where you start feeling self-doubt, and I'm just like, look at the great people. Look at the greats in the world. They all shared the same story. They went through a lot of caca, a lot of shit. Like there was no straight path. No. It was windy, it was up, it was down. Like I have yet to, even like Jeff Bezos, right? Probably right now, I mean, arguably most successful person in the world, easily. Yeah. You know, and hear his story. You know, he's got a little shit office in his garage with a handwritten banner that says Amazon. You know,
it's amazing and now that everyone started. Yeah.
Yes, but you know what he did? He kept going. He kept going. And there's that famous quote, and I'm paraphrasing because I can't remember, but it basically says, well, if you're going through hell, don't stop there. You don't want to stay in hell. Keep going. Like you got to, like, at least if you're going to quit, don't quit in hell. Like at least get out of that and then quit, because that's not a good place to stop. Don't stop there. You don't want to stop and stay there,
and it's
right?
funny because most of the people, that's what they think when everything's going really shitty and, you know, nothing is going your way, nothing is working out, you're not getting the clients, you're not getting the leads, whatever it may be in your life, right? It's just like, I'm thinking about giving up. Like it's heartbreaking for me even to hear when people say that. And that's exactly the time when they need to be pushed through, right? Those hard times.
Well, it's interesting because when that's ever happened in any of my businesses, because right now at 24, I opened up my first business. I'm 36 now, but at 24, I opened up my first company. I sold it at 27. I worked at one job for 1 year, and then I opened up my business that I own now. So I've been self-employed for 12 years straight, except for 1 year after I sold the business and basically just worked because I was bored and I didn't really know what to do. However, in that 12-year journey, and you know, I'm still considered young as a 36-year-old. To own a business for 12 years is good. You know, most people don't start a business, but there was plenty of dark times. And what really got me through it always was, okay, Ryan, you need to go out and start loving people. And what I mean by that is sending voice notes, voice messages, text messages. Just start putting great energy out into the world, and it will completely change your mindset, but it will start getting people to kind of respond back to you. Fill up your calendar, start talking to people, have conversations. Great things happen from conversations with people. And you don't have to call somebody and say, hey, I want to do business with you. No, just have the conversation, because all of a sudden in the conversation, somebody says, hey, what do you do? Well, I do this, I do that. Oh, actually, you know, this and that. You'd be like, it's amazing how many opportunities come from things that I'm just like, how the hell did that even become an opportunity? Like,
that's
this
amazing.
Is weird.
It's amazing. But you have some amazing guests on your show, so definitely, you know, you're doing something right.
Of course, right? And it's, you know, and you start reverse engineering that, and then you start saying, hey, like here's what I'm about. But people always recognize something that's different. And when I reach out to guests, you know, I think they're like, no, this guy's different. You know, I want to be a part of this journey. You know, and if you listen to any of my podcasts, even with big name guests, and you go and listen to them on other people's shows, I pull out so many different things from them, because I come at them from a complete realistic perspective, and you can tell that they really appreciate that. So, you know, that's that.
Yeah. I guess, you know, a lot of people say that being an entrepreneur is kind of like a lonely journey, because yeah, exactly. So when you find your tribe and you find those entrepreneurs that really just never give up, they're going and they keep going no matter what's happening, you kind of like find your little tribe, and they like to be challenged, they like to be talked to. So you definitely bring that out of people on your show. I'm super, like, I watched some of your show, specifically like the one with Evan Carmichael. I really love that one. Yes, he's really... Yes. I love his show.
Yes.
So, how do you get those people on your show? Tell me your secret.
There is no secret. It's persistence. You know, I send messages. Some people have taken 8 months, 9 months to get on my show. You know, it's hard, of course, to get your first big name, But, you know, I've had Grammy Award winning artists. I've had Melanie Fiona, 2-time Grammy Award winner. I've had SWV, you know, #1 girl group of the 90s. I've had Montel Jordan, This Is How We Do It, Kevin O'Leary, Shark Tank, Seth Godin, you name it. I've had, you know, Oprah's life coach. I've had Patrick Bet-David, Valuetainment, you know, all these different people. And it was always the same thing. I was me. And I said, hey, I want you to come on my show. But here's the difference. People sit behind their message. They sit behind their message. So me, I flip the phone around. I say, hey, Emmy, listen, you need to come on the Ryan Holtz Show podcast. This is the #1 Black Culture podcast. Listen. We've had Kevin O'Leary. We've had SWV. Listen, this is going to be one of the most epic conversations of your life. Let me know how we can do this. Take care. Have a great day. And Team Holtz loves you.
Amazing.
Right?
That's it.
And then if they don't get back to me, hey, Barney from K-Swiss, President K-Swiss, I seen that you seen my message on Instagram. How you gonna ignore me, bro? You can't ignore me. You need to come. You want to come on my show? I've literally done that, and they're like, oh, and people literally get back to like, oh my god, I had to come on your show. Like what? Like none of this. Hi, Larry. So Oh God. No, don't do it.
I'm taking that with me.
Yes, because look how much personality you have, Emmy. Right? That doesn't translate into words. Like you can't show your personality, your tonality, your inflection through words, through letters. It just looks like words on a page.
Yeah,
but what you can do, if you're a podcaster or doing video and you can talk in front of the camera, you need to be sending everybody a video or voice message, period.
I love it. As simple as that, right?
Right. And that's why when people come on the Ryan Holtz Show podcast, you know, I say, hey, Kevin O'Leary, say at the end of the show, hey, this is Kevin O'Leary, and I was just on the Ryan Holtz Show podcast. Because I get everybody to say that, because if you start seeing all these people and they're like, Ryan Holtz Show podcast, Ryan Holtz Show podcast, Ryan's a beast, Ryan Holtz Show podcast, Ryan Holtz Show podcast. You're like, this guy's got everybody coming on his Ryan Holtz Show podcast. And there's something about when people say it out of your mouth. Like you should be saying to me at the end of this, hey, Ryan, say your name is Ryan Holtz and you were just on the Emmy show or whatever the heck it is, right?
Say that.
There you go. Right. And then it's boom.
I love that. Thank you so much. So Ryan, what's in the future for you? Who are you inviting in your podcast? Like who are those next names that coming on your show now?
I can't name any specifically because I like to give it as a surprise, but I got some Hollywood people. I got some Hollywood people coming on, some A-list actors. I got some really special stuff happening for the show, coming to the show. You know, we're really refining it. We have partnered with a company called Heartbeat Hot Sauce, which is teamed up with what's his name, Dustin Poirier, which just won UFC. So we're going to be doing some stuff along even the fighting. I'm definitely bringing in my content historically, and my programming and my catalog on my show has probably been about 80% entrepreneurship business. And it was always my goal to talk about entrepreneurship, but I also want to talk about fatherhood, lifestyle, and food. And so now you're going to start to see.
Nice.
Yes. So 40% of my content will start being driven more to lifestyle and food, because I love entrepreneurship and whatnot, but and here's the thing, right? I like to say things into the universe. The Ryan Holtz Show podcast is not a podcast. It's a show, and it's a media entity. The Ryan Holtz Show podcast will become a network, which will have other shows under the network. That's the fact. So, you know, at some point, which we've had a couple big players knock on the door and say, hey, could I buy you or could we license you? And I said, no. Wow. I said, I own all my stuff. So I'm going big picture, because what if Emmy says, hey, I want to really do my show. I need a good network to go under that can really help promote and push out my show. Well, you can approach Ryan Holtz and say, hey, Ryan, I'd like to be a part of your podcast network. What does that look like? And I'll say, well, Emmy will help you produce the show. We'll help you book guests. We'll help you push it out. We'll help you market it. And we'll basically just be that partner for your show and that umbrella. And that's where I see it, because the motivation for me behind it is there's a lot of amazing people out there. And here's where I see people struggle. And this is maybe one of even the better parts of our conversation so far is this. So here's what happens. There's elements to producing a show. So, okay, the first element is concept. What's my message? What's my goal? What's the show? Concept. Second element is, well, what's my show art? What kind of graphic am I going to put for iTunes and all my cover art? Okay. Then the next element is, well, what do I need for technology? What do I need? Like, what kind of software do I need? What kind of microphones to get this up and running? Then who needs to host it? Then, well, we got to book some guests. Okay, what are we going to talk about with the guests when we book them? Now, here's the most important part. Everybody says, oh my God, I got the guest. The show's up. It's listed. Oh my God. And then you get 2 downloads. And then you get 2 downloads. So here's the most important part. Marketing it. Yes. You got to market it. The most important. That's why when you see my video clips, they're banging. Music, it's flashing at you. I'm saying something crazy. I'm like, listen, man, this is the only show you need to listen to today. I'm going to tell you why, right? And you're speaking that energy into it. That is the Ryan Holtz Show podcast, but that's the Ryan Holtz Show network. Because here's the deal. I started, and this is what I say. Sometimes you create the business, but sometimes your market creates the business for you. Let me explain. So I started doing this podcast, and of course, the podcast gets more and more successful and happens. You start getting opportunities. But here's what really happened. People start coming to me and saying, hey, Ryan, I know you own a marketing agency and you do branding and stuff for businesses and people, but do you do any kind of coaching for podcasting or mentoring? And I thought, and I'm not even kidding you, Emmy, for probably about a year, I said, no, like it's just not in my wheel well. I started getting it so much that people were like, well, man, I'd love to pay for like an hour of your time per month, hop on Zoom and have you walk me through to A to Z. So I created my 100 series podcast course, which now I'm in the works of creating a full-blown course online that people can go, and it's automated and it'll scale. And Amy Porterfield, who I've had on my show, she's like the online course queen. So Amy said, hey, Ryan, I'll help you create the course, because she's massive.
Very cool. Yeah.
I do these one-on-ones coaching now for podcasting. So somebody said to me, well, break it down to me in the phases. So it's exactly what I just said to you. Yeah. So concept and idea, technical specs. What do you need, right? Who do you want to get on the show? How do you market the show? How do we get reviews? How do we repurpose the content? It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And podcasters out there right now, they're doing so much work right now and they're failing.
They're not making enough.
They're not even making it past episode 7 because they didn't even understand what they were getting into.
Yeah.
It's not just get a podcast up and running and put it through Anchor and do one of those crappy audiograms. Those audiograms are crap. Like nobody wants to see a little bubble.
I always say that you got to start somewhere and
yes,
is good and get to the 7th episode is really, really
yes,
good. But you can't stop there. You need to keep
going,
keep investing, into microphones and technical and all that stuff that you're talking about and the designing and all that stuff. So
yes. So I tell people this. So here's what I've been telling people now. I said, don't approach me until you get to episode 7. Because once you get to episode 7, I know you're serious about it. But then I also know when they get to episode 7, they understand the roadblocks. So that's a good thing. Even right now for me, I'm like, okay, Ryan, you were a podcast. Okay, you got on top 100. You're number 1 in Canada. Okay, so for but all these. But then you go and hit. Then you're like, well, but you're not on Joe Rogan level. You're not on Tim Ferriss level. You're not on some of these celebrities level that have millions and millions of people that follow. So when they open up the podcast, they're automatically getting downloads. So how do you take your show? I still consider my show like, I mean, I'm going for the Super Bowl here. So I'm still in the middle, right? So now how do you get from the middle into that? We're talking like top 1% globally. And I'm not talking about, no. I'm talking about, you're sitting with Joe Rogan. You're sitting with, the top 5, which equal millions, if not over 1 billion downloads a month. Okay, massive, right? Like they're more than CNN, MSNBC, any network combined. That's the truth, right? So that's why Joe Rogan got $100 million deal with Spotify. Joe Rogan is not a podcaster. Joe Rogan is a fucking media empire. Right? Yeah. He's not a podcaster. Yeah. So everybody has to understand that. So that's where that's where we're going. That's where we're going, Emmy. To answer
Big
your
dreams,
question.
big dreams. That's awesome.
Yes,
Yeah, get that in a few years, right? Like it's really just gonna take that. Like it's the matter of when, not if, right?
Yeah, of course. And I'm putting out in the universe in a very humble way, because I'm also saying that, well, yeah, that's where you want to go. So as long as your actions and work ethic speak to that, you can go there. But if they don't, shut your mouth.
Yeah, absolutely. And I heard you talk a lot about the universe and all that stuff. So I am a big fan of it. So what I do, I visualize, I journal, I do all kinds of stuff to speak it out loud and all that stuff. So what do you do? What is connecting with the universe means to you?
Connecting with the universe means connecting with yourself, connecting with your energy, connecting with your purpose, connecting with your childhood, even if it wasn't bad, even if it was bad, connecting with your parents, even if they were bad. Maybe they were great. Maybe they weren't great. Maybe they're in the middle. Who knows? It's connecting with you. It's going deep down. It's uncovering all your pain, all your buckets. It's having a true heart to heart and saying, you know what, Ryan, you need to stop running from yourself. Run to yourself. Run to yourself. Sit in your pain, sit in your blessings, sit in your shit, right? I'm a dad now, right? I'm a dad. When my son was born, I said, you're a dad. Like, you can't fuck around. You can't fucking run from yourself. You're a dad. Your kids are looking at all your moves. They're looking at all your actions. And here's the truth. Ed Milet said this. Man, this shook me to my core. He says, you know what? Kids always know when mommy and daddy aren't getting after their dreams. Kids always know. They always know. My son, I'm in my home in the mountains, BC. So a third of my home, I have a beautiful home, but a third of it is converted into a full-blown studio office. And my son, right before I come down for this interview, he's like, Daddy, you getting to work? Daddy, are you going to get your dreams? That's literally what he says, because that's what I've taught him. Yeah. And he's seeing his parents get after their dreams.
Yeah.
And I tell him all the time, dreams don't mean wins. They mean losses. They mean wins, but they mean getting after it. So if you believe in God or you don't believe in God or whatever you believe in, here's what I believe in. I'm more spiritual than religious. So I believe when we're done, the end of our journey, I believe we go through these gates. Somebody comes over, they say, hey, Emmy, come here. Welcome to the club. Now, let's get to the point here. I want to onboard you, similar to what you would do with a new customer. Hey, I want to onboard you. I want to tell you something. Emmy, play that tape over there. That's what the vision I had for you. Now, Emmy, I want you to watch that 60-second reel, and I want you to tell me to my face if you thought you lived up to the expectation and the vision that I had for you. And if your answer is no, you're fucked.
That is so powerful. I love it. I love that. Actually, yeah, that was a gold freaking nugget right there. I love that. Yeah. And so many people are afraid to go after their dreams. Yeah. So it just hurts my heart too. So I used to be one of them. I used to be the 9-to-5 and extra part-time jobs, and I just fit into the world and all that stuff until really something hit me in my life, and I really had to think about what the fuck am I doing in this world.
Hey,
right?
you were born an original. Don't die a fucking copy.
Yeah. Well, now I know that, but I used to didn't know that.
Right?
Yeah.
So in between all this high level,
really beautiful.
Yeah, that's it. So connecting with the universe and the energy. Yeah, I mean, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot of work, but that's the journey. But again, I'm a dad, and I have kids, and I'm telling you, kids do not lie. I'm looking at my 4-year-old son, and he's a complete beast. He is so confident. With this COVID thing, you can't even barely socialize him with kids now, parks, all these things, normal stuff a 4-year-old would have access to. Thank God we have a nice property, so we go outside, we do things here. But, our apprehension, because here, well, you're in Canada, so he's going to be going to school in the fall. And we said, my God, he's going to go right into school. He's barely talked to kids because of this COVID stuff. So, you know, we're out in the park the other day and everybody's kind of, you know, and I said, okay, well, let's, you know, I said, Dejan, you got to keep your distance and stuff. But man, this guy comes into that thing. He's like, yeah, hi, my name's Dejan Holtz. That's Daddy Holtz. That's Mama Holtz. And that's my sister Talia Holtz. And he goes to the doctor a week ago and she's writing down on paper. He's like, that's an A. That stands for apple. That's a B. So the doctor says, well, what's your mom's name? He's like, Mummy Holtz. So what's your dad's name? Daddy Holtz. So she said, what's their first name? So we look at the doctor. We're like, you're East Indian. You should, like, the culture is you don't call your parents by their first name. So he's looking at us like, no, I'll get in trouble. Don't you dare call, like, you don't call dad by his first name. I mean, I'm dad. I'll be dad when I'm 90 years old. When I'm 90 years old and he's like 55, you know, if that guy ever comes in my home and calls me sir or by my first name, I'm gonna get up out of my damn wheelchair and throw the wheelchair at him. You know, it's a culture. It's a respect thing. So he's like, no, it's Daddy Holtz. And I was just so proud, you know. Anyways, that's it. Emmy, that's the beauty. That's how you connect into the universe. So your kids know, but when the clock strikes, play tape 8, Emmy, 60 seconds. This is the vision. This is who I created you to be. Did you get there or did you not? That's it. Only you can decide.
Yeah. I'm getting there. That's it.
There you go.
All right. Thank you, Ryan, for sharing all that wisdom with us. It was really amazing to listen to you. Like, I would just continue the conversation with you the whole day. Just keep going. I would love to. Now I got to roll on my podcast and I got to do an interview too. So we'll talk more though. We'll talk more. Yeah. So what would be like maybe like a last words of wisdom to our viewers? Maybe a minute or two kind of closing before we go on. Also, please tell our audience where can they find you? Yeah. So you know, the words of wisdom are. And our whole show, we have 130 episodes that's inspiring the one statement. The one statement is this: we want you to live your full self on purpose. Be your original self unapologetically, because when you find that deep magic inside yourself, I'm excited for you because I'm excited for the people that are waiting for you to serve them. Everybody has an audience. You know, people out there, they need you. They need us. They need Ryan. Only what Ryan can give. They need Emmy. Only for what Emmy can give. So when you don't serve yourself, you're not even serving those people that are waiting for you to serve them. And that is the reality. For me, my plug is this: download the Ryan Holtz Show podcast, write a review, go to youtube.com/Ryan Holtz, subscribe on YouTube, go to ryanholtz.ca, check me out, Google me. I'm all there. And if people are looking to start a podcast and need help one-on-one, reach out to me. Send me an email. Emmy will put all my information out there. And that's it. You know, I'm always looking to work with people that value their running mates. And a team is everything. But if you're a piece of crap human, don't reach out to me. Love you, but stay away from me. I'm keeping my energy intact. I love it. And before we go, Ryan, which show you were on and who you were with right now? What is the exact name of your show? Entrepreneurial Success Stories with Emmy Klazovic. Oh my God. So listen, this is Ryan Holtz, and I was just on Entrepreneur Success Stories with Emmy Klazovic. Listen, if you've not downloaded or checked out her show, please do it. You will be so happy you did. Much love from the Team Holtz squad. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And thank you everyone for watching. Ryan Holtz. Love it. Thank you again. And I'll see you guys next time. See ya.